Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see, although on a pretty belated schedule, I've been running kind of behind on my videos. I've been very busy the last 2 weeks, but finally getting around to Crimson Dragon Slayer, the revised edition D20. This is a RPG written by Venger Satanis. And you can get this on DrivethruRPG for free, as a matter of fact. So it's a free RPG, and I'm going to jump right into it and take a look at this. So let's see. Sorry about that. I will switch here and go to. So here's the PDF version of it, and as you can see, nice, very colorful cover here. It is short. It is only 15 pages long. So, certainly something, a very interesting game to take a look at. It's nice and short. It's free, so there's virtually no excuse not to take a look at any RPG that's out there that you can get your hands on for free, and it's kind of a very brief read. Um, if you start to become a real student of gaming, it's always best to see a variety of game systems out there, just so that you can better understand the current game system that you're playing or thinking about playing, and see what other ideas are out there. So Venture jumps right into it and goes into an overview, and he says years of running one shots and short campaigns motivated me to come up with something that bridged the gap between old D&D and 5e. So what you're going to see here is a very streamlined RPG. It really does simplify many of the aspects of role-playing games. And one of the key things is that he eliminates attributes. So you will not see the strength, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, charisma. Um, what he does here is he just has character classes, character races, and then there are three major archetypes, or I should say archetypes, sorry, three major archetypes, and then the associated skills with them. And most of the rolls that you're using just a d20, with the higher numbers being better. Instead of using modifiers, you use advantage. So you roll 2d20 and take the highest of the two results when the circumstances are favorable. And disadvantage is you roll, once again, 2d20 and then determine, you take the lowest of the two when those conditions are unfavorable. And whether it's favorable or unfavorable is really determined by the game master. So the gods are ever watchful, and they take an interest in mortal affairs, even those who have renounced them. In fact, few deities only concern themselves with humanoids who reject spiritual pursuits. Every player character gets 1 point of divine favor at the beginning of each session. Divine favor can be spent to re-roll any die. All right, so there's another little mechanic in there that kind of gives you kind of a once per session mulligan, basically. PC start with a first level and grow in power until reaching their adventuring peak at 10th level. Levels are gained every other adventure. So there's no point counting here. Every time you go on an adventure, every other adventure, you're going to go up one level. So the course of your character's career, might be, a total of 20 adventures, which is actually probably quite long. I think in most cases, playing online, an adventure might only, you know, might take 2 or 3 sessions to actually run through. So, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's going to be a very short run campaign or short run career for your characters. So we are coming out of the overview here, and at 3rd level, 7th level, and 10th level, the players get to pick a special ability or feat that relates to their character's class, race, or noteworthy characteristic or adventuring experience. This can sometimes pulled from the book, such as Charles Descendant, or made on your own. So character creation, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to, choose a class. Your vitality, willpower, and endurance are conceptualized by hit points. This is how much punishment your character can take before falling unconscious or dying. So you have fighters. You are a cutthroat, mercenary, bloodthirsty barbarian, or a valiant defender of the weak. Fighters gain 1d10 hit points per level, maximum hit points at 1st level, and they inflict d10 damage. All right, so very simple system. A 1st level fighter has 10 hit points, and that fighter is going to inflict, when they attack, 1d10 damage. Fighters crushing their enemies, adding their level to both attack and damage rolls. For example, a 3rd level fighter will get a +3 to hit and a +3 to damage. All right, very simple. Boom, there's just the one advantage that fighters have. Wizards, arcane scholar, mysterious sorcerer, or sinister demonologists. Wizards get d4, so 4 hit points, and inflict 4 damage, or 1 to 4 damage. They can cast virtually any spell, but each spell cast drains the wizards of hit point equal to the spell's level. See sorcery section for the spell list and additional rules. If wearing armor, wizards must roll percentage die for spell failure. That chance is 10% for every point of non-magical armor. If the spell fails, the HP are expended, but no effect is produced. All right, so once again, kind of interesting in this system how spell casting works, where if you're casting a spell, let's say you're casting a 1st level spell, you are going to deduct 1 hit point in order to cast that spell. He goes into starting gold and such. I'm not going to really dig too much into that. So clerics, the warrior priest, the Templar knight, or the servant of darkness. Clerics get a d8. They inflict a d8 or 1d8. Clerics have a healing invocation via touch that can be used once per round without penalty. At 1st level, characters can cure wounds healing 1d6. This healing ability goes up to d8 at 3rd level, d12 at 5th level, and d20 at 7th, and fully healed at level 9. Additionally, clerics have knowledge of the power over infernal entities, undead horrors, and Lovecraftian abominations. Clerics can either blast them from a distance with a lavender-hued eldritch beam of light, or utilize venial influence, bending them to his will. Roll on the following table to determine the results. If you choose to inflict damage, add the cleric's level to the amount of damage done. So then you have the thief. If I mentioned 3 earlier, it's actually 4, so misspoke earlier. So a wily rogue, a cunning assassin, or a swashbuckling bandit. Thieves get a d6, 1d6 damage. They have thieves' abilities such as, the standard, hiding in shadows, moving silently, picking locks, picking pockets, and Trickier tasks are usually narrated and rolled via skill checks. If you roll the effect, so when a thief attacks an opponent and is distracted or unaware of his presence, he has the ability to backstab, additional gaining advantage on his attacks roll and allowing the random table. And so here's the random table. So on a 4, appropriate damage plus the thief's level multiplied by 4. All right, so they can actually deal quite a bit of damage. The one thing that Venger does here that, really caught me by surprise was the number of races that he has actually included in this very, slimmed down version of a game. He certainly does include a lot of variety for race. So you have humans, dwarves, halflings, elves, dark elves, half-orcs, demons, pixie fairies, crystalline, reptilian, droids. All right, and each one has some advantages that's associated with them. So let's say halflings get a +2 AC due to their short stature and exceptional agility, whereas an elf, elves have natural magic resistance and get advantage on saving throws against spells cast on them. So advantage for them would be to roll 2d20, and they choose the higher of the two when they're making saving throws versus spells, which is actually pretty handy. 4 alignments of law, chaos, neutral, and unaligned. Unaligned, unaligned, I'm not speaking well tonight. Unaligned means that the PC doesn't give a damn about law, chaos, or the gods. They have their own idiosyncratic philosophy or passion that guides them through the world. Something noteworthy. This is the character's primary distinguishing feature, separating him from any other fighter or wizard, elf or human. Now is your opportunity to shine and stand out from the crowd. A noteworthy characteristic can be a background, a possession, a talent, a hobby, a goal, a past experience. All right, and so there's quite a bit of narration that goes on in this game system where there aren't hard set rules, but just things that you're able to do because you discuss them with the GM, and then the GM either agrees that that is something that's reasonable, or disagrees. Or the GM might say, well, I'm going to allow this, but you're going to have to attempt it at a disadvantage rather than an advantage or a straight up, D20 roll. Combat is abstract, not granular. Each round of combat is approximately 1 minute long. Characters can move, talk, take one action in any order each round. The turn equals 10 seconds. Turn equals 10 rounds. Regarding initiative, whichever side would logically strike first goes when the opposition goes. If there is no clear victor, the PCs act first. So there's no initiative roll here. It's just determined, which makes sense. Which makes more sense if go first. Armor class starts at 10 and goes up to a maximum of 20. Without magical aid, wearing leather armor improves AC by +2, chain by +4, 5 plate mail by +6, using a shield provides +2, and helm +1. So if you had leather armor, all right, and you're starting at 10, so leather armor +10, plus the 10 would be a +2 additional, so you would have a 12. And then if you happen to be carrying a shield, you would have a 14, and then a helmet would make it a 15. To attack, a roll of D20 and hit your opponent's AC or better. If using magic weapon, add the bonus to your attack or damage rolls. So you'd roll a d20. In this case, you would have to hit somebody wearing leather armor with a helmet and a shield. You would need to roll a 15 or higher. If you're rolling a standard roll, you might get bonuses if you're a fighter. Let's say you're a 4th level fighter, you're going to get a +4 to, and so it becomes a little bit easier for you to hit that, needing only to roll an 11 or higher on a d20. Wielding a two-handed weapon lets you spread additional leftover damage to nearby opponents after the original target is killed. Dual wielding lets you use two light melee weapons in order to gain one additional attack per combat. Ranged weapons let you attack from a distance. Watch out for friendly fire. If you roll a 1 on the attack, your companion is hit instead. A natural 20 on an attack roll is a critical roll, resulting in double damage plus additional bonuses such as magic and fighting prowess. Epic acts of awesome can be attempted instead of a standard action like an attack. Epic acts of awesome aren't about doing the impossible, but doing what is possible in an awesome and epic way. Which I like the way that sounds. It's like so you're not doing these crazy, almost like James Bond esque type of actions. You're still doing something that's fairly typical of your class, let's say, but it's just going to look awesome while you're doing it. So that's a cool little thing to have inserted in there. If a player reaches 0 hit points, or any negative number of hit points up to the PC's level, they are knocked unconscious. If the HP goes past that, all right, the character is dead. Very simple, cut and dry. If you're a 4th level character, at -5, you are dead. All right, at -4, you are almost dead. And so on. So death sucks, but it happens. Simply create another PC. The new PC will be brought into the game as soon as possible. And then there's the miscellaneous as far as, saving throws are concerned, and, when players can assist each other, making, creating an advantage situation. So that's how assists work in this. And again, I really like that idea of, if two characters are attempting to do the same thing, assisting one another, it does make sense that some kind of an advantage will be generated, so that makes it easier to complete the task. And then let's see. All hit points refresh after 6 hours of rest. Interruptions are fine. Just sleep a little bit longer. So, and saving throws are made partially or entirely resist various dangers. The target number for the saving throw is determined by subtracting the character's level or the monster's HD from 20. You need to roll that number or better on a d20 to save. A natural 20 means that you're completely unaffected. All right, so yeah, so if you're a 1st level character, I mean, you're basically only going to save on a 19 or a 20, which is, pretty extreme. So it's kind of hard, I think, to avoid taking or resisting any kind of a magic attack or make a saving throw. Unless, of course, you're rolling with advantage, where you at least get 2 tries at hitting that 19 or 20 at 1st level. So most 1st level characters are going to be fairly susceptible to saving throws and whatever gets thrown at them. He goes into sorcery here, and sorcery is, once again, very, very interesting. He has an interesting take on it. There can be only one. Only a single spell can be cast and maintained by the caster. That doesn't mean a single spell and then you're done. It means that only a single spell can be cast and be in effect at the same, at one time. So it means that if the sorcerer has cast a detect magic, then he casts invisibility. The effects of the detect magic will cease, and the effects of the invisibility will continue or begin. If the sorcerer then casts a fireball, then anyone that have charmed or been dominated would instantly be released from the effects of their previous spell. So it's kind of like once the sorcerer casts a spell, they have to kind of maintain at least some level of concentration in maintaining that spell continuing on, especially for spells that are controlling someone else. So it kind of acts like a break in concentration. The price of spell casting. So it costs vitality for a sorcerer to cast a spell. 1 hit point is lost for every spell level that is cast. For example, a first level spell costs a single hit point, while a third level spell costs 3 hit points. If reduced in hit points to 0 or less from casting, he falls unconscious and must succeed in a saving throw or die. Either way, the spell goes off as desired, but has no lasting effect after the initial round. Dark rituals. Sorcerers may perform a ritual that appeases the demons of hell. Instead of draining their own vitality, sorcerers may sacrifice one or more humanoids with enough hit points to cast the spell no farther than 0 hit points, at which point death embraces NPCs. An additional benefit is that casting spells via Dark Ritual do not fade when the sorcerer casts a new spell. Yes, a sorcerer could even sacrifice himself. The ritual glyph drawing, frantic ululating, and bloodletting takes as many turns to complete as the spell's level. Sacrificial HP loss is semi-permanent. It cannot be restored by natural or supernatural means. However, the victim recovers those sacrifice hit points after 1 month. So it can be recovered at 1 point per month after having been sacrificed for that draining. He goes into the spells listing. So here we have Detect Magic, Identify, Illumination, Language, Glamour. Second level spells are Charm, Ectoplasmic Webbing, Missile Command, Preternatural Focus, and Sorcerer's Shield. Third level spells, and we have Fireball, and then different variations of Fireball. Flight, Mesmerizing, Magenta Mist. Mesmerizing Magenta Mist. This spell generates a blanket of glowing, magenta-hued fog, clinging to the ground and slowly spreading throughout the area, dissipating approximately 30 feet from the sorcerer. Those not averting their eyes must make a saving throw or become dazzled by the magenta mist for as many rounds as the caster's level. Mirror Reflections, Sleep, 4th level spells. I'm going to try to cut down on talking so much. Usually I have a little shot and it kind of settles everything down. But yeah, tonight I'm kind of tired with the daylight savings losing an hour. And so it's been a long weekend. 6th level Wish. So you're going to have to be a fairly high level wizard or sorcerer in order to cast this spell and survive. not killing yourself, basically. So you're going to need at least six hit points just to keep yourself above zero without falling unconscious. And, probably seven, eight, or nine to be, fairly reasonable, unless, of course, you're going to do a dark ritual where you're sapping the strength from somebody else, the vitality from someone else in order to do that. I kind of like that idea of taking from others their vitality, but I'm almost certain that that is definitely going to make your character an evil character. Which Venger certainly doesn't have a problem with you playing. So there are some other things out there that games that he has produced that you can look into, and I certainly suggest that you do so. He has a very unique approach to RPGs, and this is just another example of that. So let me switch views. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. The channel just recently hit, as of today, I believe, just hit 600 subscribers. So the channel is growing well, and keep on adding in more people, and keep on including your comments and suggestions for me to take a look at other games out there. And I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. I just recently started playing on a fairly regular basis D&D every Friday night, or every other Friday night as a player. So it's really good to get back into playing an RPG as a player, and not just always as the game master. So but I'm also looking to start up a new campaign for Mifrog, kind of bridging the gap between 2.7 and 3.0. So, and I'm going to do a separate video on that probably within the next day or so. And still plenty of other things that are going on, in the RPG world, which I'll be spending some time making a few videos discussing those as well. So once again, thanks for joining. I hope you had a great weekend. Looking forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon, and good luck with you with your upcoming week. I know for many of us it's another work week coming along, and we're looking forward to the upcoming weekend. Always looking for that next break. And if you're out there and you're interacting in the public anywhere in the world and everything, just remember to wash your hands, and just try to stay healthy out there. So you'll have a great one. Good to see you again, and look forward to hearing your comments. So please leave comments. All right, you'll have a great night.